It's like SpongeBob pasta, but the like Olympic rings. No bag, but slutty glasses, slutty little mustache.
This man has a $300 million contract, and he has a spray-on hairline.
They looked like Sabrina Carpenter wears those like sparkly nylons that make her legs look beautiful.
Like
and that's what we're wearing. You're listening to She's a Fan, the sports podcast for the girls who want in on the conversation.
Brought to you by your sports BFF. I'm Heather.
And I'm Abby.
If you're enjoying this podcast, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening, and make sure and share this with a friend. For more sports content, follow your sports BFF on Instagram and TikTok. Here we go.
We have an AI overview. I just Googled She's the Fan podcast.
What?
She's the Fan. She's the Fan is a weekly sports podcast hosted by Heather, Melcer, and Abby Constant that is designed for a female audience, covering sports news and drama with a focus on making sports more accessible and fun to follow. The hosts, one who analyzes the plays and the other who asks the questions, cover topics like NFL and WNBA drama, major sports events, and other pop culture moments.
That's hilarious.
And the first video of me is the top video is me making my Cleveland mistake.
Is
it like something with LeBron?
Oh, it is. It only has 9 likes. How is that the top? Oh, that's hilarious. My dad just texted me 100 days to the Olympics.
Countdown.
He's
been counting down. When did he start his countdown?
I think it was 120 days. So 20 days ago. I'm checking.
How frequently is he updating you?
Right now, every 20 days. 2 updates. 120 days to Winter Olympic. Today. 100 days to Olympics.
Wow.
He's probably getting some Apple News headline about it. And I think what needs to happen is we need to pick up our Olympic coverage. I know. Did you see this? This is actually a fun place to start. I saw something of athletes getting gifts of Olympic ring pasta. And I hope to God it wasn't AI, because it was so fun. It was like little Olympic ring, like rigatoni, like a bunch of rigatoni put together in a shape. And then, I don't know, it could totally have been fake. However, I think it was a...
No, it's RyanOlympics.com.
Okay. How fun. It's in Milan. It's in Italy. And
show me the pasta. Oh yeah, Winter Olympics, Italian style. That's so cute.
Isn't that fun?
It's like SpongeBob pasta, but the like Olympic rings.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. What a creative thing to do.
I would make half of it and save half of it.
You just make a pasta necklace.
You'd have to like weave through. Yeah.
Like we used to do stupid shit for art and crafts.
Put macaroni noodles on a string and call it good.
Yeah, and we were like, this is
high art. Say, Winter Olympics, 100 days. 100 days to Snoop content. That's really the countdown.
It's going to start soon.
I also saw they're going to do something similar to what Paris did for the Summer Olympics opening night, and have the opening night happening in like a bunch of different areas. And a lot of the events, like it's hosted in Milan, but so many of the events are actually
in like different cities. Yeah,
because you have to be up on the ski hill or just things like that. So yeah, I'm excited.
Cool. 100 days. Thank you, Mr. Melcer, for keeping our prepared.
Yes, maybe we'll bring him on to do maybe he'll be our Snoop Olympic coverage. That would be hilarious.
I think that
I don't know if the world is ready for that to happen.
I think I'm ready.
We can do trials, see if the people invite him back. We can see if we can get the tech working. I feel like between my mom and him, they could join this. That would be amazing. Okay, quick hits. MLB World Series has been a gut wrencher. Like every game I thought has been back to back. Dodgers win, Toronto wins, Dodgers win, Toronto wins. The game 3 was the big highlight, 18 innings, which tied the longest ever playoff game. That's 2 full games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
2 full games. It went, I think, the 7th inning on 0 hits across the board for both teams. And then Freddie, who already has the most walk-off home runs, I think, in playoff history, just added another. He was the one that ended up hitting the walk-off homer to close the game. I learned my lesson from the Seattle game and did not attempt to stay up for it. But the ninth inning ended and I said, okay, I'll check the score later. Went to bed.
Smart.
So, yeah, I had been stuck. I think it was like 1 a.m. when it ended in Chicago timeline.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, crazy. I think I read something about, I actually think it was Freddie who's said something about only getting a couple hours of sleep, like 2 power naps essentially, because he has younger kids and got by the time he got home and the adrenaline of the game and this and that, got a little bit of sleep. I think woke up, got a little bit of sleep, and then had the kids. And then they start their games like so early. So they had to come back, play game 5. Toronto ended up having a really big inning, put up a bunch of points that kind of sealed the deal. And then game 5, right? Yeah, is tonight. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow will be the last game in LA. And then, or excuse me, tonight is the last game in LA. Making things up at this point. And then they go back to Toronto and yeah, I have a feeling it's going to go
all the way.
I think so. I would expect the Dodgers to win tonight probably at home, and then Toronto would need 2 in a row. We'll see. If Toronto can win this game, that's a big deal. Whoever wins this game is got an advantage because they just need 1 more then.
Right.
So it's a little less pressure going into that game 6. On the baseball note, everyone has been at the games. I think that's the benefit of having a major city. It's like all the celebs show up.
100%. Yeah. I love that.
And Biebs, there's a Bieber. So he's Toronto based and always roots for the Toronto teams. But there's a guy on Toronto with the last name Bieber. So he was rocking a Bieber jersey, but it wasn't. It was like a real thing. Yeah,
that's funny.
And then
I know all we're out.
Everyone, I get
Kirby,
yeah,
Madison Beer, they were there.
They were also at the Laker game.
Yeah,
they've been I feel like they made that official a couple weeks ago when she showed up to a game, and since then they are out and about. And then at the Laker game, did you see the photo of her almost getting hit by the ball, but he just like Mr. Cool. Yeah, I feel like they're the new it couple in sports.
Yeah. And like we just did the Victoria's Secret fashion show and they're having a moment for sure. And also Jacob Elordi was at the baseball.
Be in the crowd with him. Talk about FOMO. That man can do no wrong in my eyes. What did he wear? Did he have, I didn't see him. Did he?
He had I didn't see because it crossed my mind to do a little look-see because Jacob Elordi and his bags.
I know.
A tale as old as time, but I didn't do the research, so I don't know.
I feel like you can't, although I bet he could. I feel like there's bag restrictions at games, so.
Yeah, but he did wear like a slutty pair of glasses with his little slutty mustache, and I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, who else did I see? Brad Pitt, Brad Pitt was at the game.
Was he?
Yeah, one of them. He might have been at last night's.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
Oh yeah, they're like the friends that are on mine too.
Sydney Sweeney
and Flea. Interesting. Drake.
Yeah. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe is a hilarious human being to me. Here's Jacob Elordi. No bag, but slutty glasses, slutty little mustache.
Yep. Glenn Powell. Also, did you see? Oh yeah, there's Brad Paisley. This is the weirdest thing. Brad Paisley has played the national anthem at 4 baseball games, I think playoff games, and all 4 have gone into extra innings. Both of the 18-inning games were him. Isn't that wild?
That's crazy. That is a crazy coincidence. Oh, Nelly Furtado.
Oh, I just saw her. Some of these people I don't know.
I can't keep up with all the Joneses.
Chance Croft, Chris
Nate.
Pine. Yep. Yeah, everyone was there. It's LA. It's like going to a Laker game. Someone interesting is going to be sitting courtside. Same with New York.
Yeah. You know, Justin
And
Bieber always has weird fashion choices, but this little hat that he's wearing is quite interesting to me.
I always love his fashion choices. Even though
He's doing his thing, and we respect that.
I wonder, this all goes back to that. I wonder if any of the other leagues are going to get fashion editors. Like we talked about, and the NFL has one. I'm curious. I feel like the NBA would be maybe the next one, but I feel like NBA players don't need an editor. Maybe some do, but I feel like and like basketball, I thought was the start of the tunnel fit, and then other teams who I think could use an editor, NHL. Those men wear some weird suits.
Yeah, but I feel like that's hockey culture.
I know, but we could get them better fitting.
Yeah.
Like we got teach them how to. We don't need the designer handbags potentially, but we could get a little better than some of the weird hats and like skinny pants that they still wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like NBA has some teams have creative directors, but not as a whole.
Okay. And I imagine a lot of the players have their own stylists in ways, but
WNBA, they have a huge presence, but they don't have an official editor.
yeah. I feel like fashion and basketball go hand in a lot of ways. NFL has gone better. Baseball, you don't see it. Hockey, you don't see it. Soccer culture is so different. Yes and no.
Yeah, they have some. They're like MLS has a call out, a history of working with designers in different creative roles, but more of a dedicated fashion editor.
And I think like Premier League teams also have a history of partnering with. Armani used to do a lot of stuff with the European leagues, and I feel like soccer's but it's so different than I feel like the tunnel fashion than more of the like we get the benefit of the fashion.
I was told that I should keep my feet on the ground as a tool to keep myself from moving all around my screen. And
it's not working.
I'm not going to show you my feet because we don't do that for free. But
however, if you want to pay some money, we might be able to.
With my bunion.
Oh, God. Don't start with the Bunions. The second time the Bunions have had a call out on.
Oh, I talk about my bunions all the time. I love talking about my bunion. And it's just one. I have one bunion.
I think the first one was cut. This one.
You didn't let me talk about my bunion. I now wear a toe spacer with a bunion cover in almost all of my shoes. And it is changing my life.
Good.
It is improving my quality of life.
Good.
So I'm here to advocate for bunion sufferers everywhere and say,
can you purchase a name brand bunion brace thing, whatever you call it, so we can get a sponsor
for my bunion? I don't know.
Is there like some? Yeah, I need you to get on the name brand.
I have a bunion brace that I sleep with at night. I wear the thing.
I know, but I need it to be like a brand that would wanna. We'll offline about this. We'll chat.
Okay. I feel like it like Dr. Scholl's.
Perfect.
Help me out.
Dr. Scholl's. We could use you.
I could use you.
Feel like a lot of women wear heels that listen to this podcast and probably need add it to the night routine, add it to the.
And my mother told me this forever, that one day I'm not going to be able to wear those heels anymore. And bunions are genetic, and here I am. But now I'm wearing my bunion cover and my toe spacer in my heels, and let me tell you, it's an improvement.
I love it. I feel like sports have made mine, like soccer cleats.
Mine has, when I started running, I think
aggravated it.
Really increased the aggressiveness of my bunion.
I was just laughing at the fact that we had a 5-minute conversation about bunions.
I have a passion about my bunion.
I feel like it's some influencer starts to talk about their struggle with ADHD, and then it's like popular to be talking about your struggles with ADHD. We're going to start to see bunion prevention and
we're just going to get bunion content now.
Oh God.
I've said onion about 37 times in the last 5 minutes, so get ready for it on your
Get
social.
ready. Okay, I'm ready for it.
You know what? I have one other tangential
One
thing.
last thing on Bunions before we move on.
Not bunions, but similar. So on the socials, always listening,
Yes.
because I don't see Diamond anymore to do my nails, and I don't have any more Diamond content.
Interesting.
Yes. So the story behind this is have been seeing a nail tech named Diamond for the last 5 years. So every 3 weeks, I was seeing Diamond. I was calling on the phone and booking appointments with Diamond. And I was telling people, go see Diamond. So my phone, I think, was hearing me say Diamond all the time. And I didn't realize it, but I was getting all sorts of content about diamonds and stone clarity. And it was like a lot of engagement rings, which was not something that I'm in the market for at the moment. But like that's so like that, it wasn't like me searching for engagement rings and then seeing a bunch of diamond content.
Yeah.
It was me talking about my nail tech Diamond and getting
Correct.
bombarded with diamond content. And I didn't realize this until Taylor Swift got engaged and I was spewing off a bunch of facts about her rock. And now I'm basically a geologist because of my nail tech.
Yep. But no more content, which I feel like is bad timing because I would have loved for you to have so much more knowledge on the Louvre heist and like the diamonds and everything stolen.
Yeah.
So be it. Now it's just Bunions. Okay. I'll leave it at that.
How's Joe Burrow's surf shop?
It's a great question. He's in recovery. I don't think we've seen any of the crazy, witchy, hocus pocus stuff lately. I think he's got another month and a half at least. So, TBD. Back to baseball. Women's Pro Baseball League, in case you didn't know, is a thing. They brought back the movie A League of Their Own, where there was like professional women's baseball. That was actually a real thing back in the day. That movie's based off of real women. And they brought it back. And so I think it starts in January. I think they had tryouts a couple months ago. So they have the roster of players available. They just announced the cities that the teams are going to be in last week. And it's Boston, New York, LA, San Francisco, which I think is really interesting because a lot of these newer leagues have been doing a lot of more regional stuff because to play, you have to fly, or they're going to have to fly back and forth. I wonder if they're going to, what would be really smart for them is to do a couple games home, but also go play in Seattle, Chicago, everywhere that there's a baseball field, essentially, and like test markets and just constantly be like on the road, essentially, as like a foursome or two teams. I don't know. But
yeah,
I'm curious how the schedule will play out because that is interesting from like a budget standpoint of going back and forth. But yeah, 4 teams. I think the draft happens in the coming weeks. I want to say maybe November sometime. And so we'll know who is on each team. I don't think the teams will be anything more than just the cities to start. That's what happened with like the PWHL. And then the following year, they give them like their true name, if you will. So that's all happening. I know. I'm excited. Do you remember there's like a gal named Monet Davis? Monet. It's like M-O-N.
Yep.
She played in Little League baseball. She was a pitcher. And I remember when she was going through the Little League World Series, and it was a huge deal to have a girl on the team, but she was a badass pitcher. So she's in it. And I feel like she's one of the big stars. I know. So there'll be some good stuff. I know softball has been blowing up lately, and I'm sure there's a lot of women that will move over to baseball and do this. But at AU, softball has blown up. ESPN's going to be covering some games this season, which was just announced. But I think there's going to be, women's baseball / softball and volleyball are going to be 2 of the next like big leagues.
that's cool. My niece
Yeah.
plays softball, so I love that. I love the, what's the word? I can't think of
Glow
words.
up. I would call it a glow up.
And just like the visibility of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I can imagine I had role models, if you will, like Mia Hamm in soccer was probably like the biggest, or Lisa Leslie. So we like had some soccer, basketball, but I didn't really watch WNBA or I don't know. It wasn't really easy to find
Yeah.
living in Montana, broadcast on Montana. But I can imagine nowadays, like even especially with like social media and everything, like having so many diverse players to look up to as a young girl. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Other news, WNBA, old coach of the New York Liberty that was cut, is now the first head coach of Toronto Tempo. So she did get picked up by one of the expansion teams. Yep. Yeah. We'll see what those first couple seasons are like. But I think that's she's a big sign. The other big news in the WNBA is highly unlikely that there's going to be CBA negotiation deal by Friday, essentially. So the league essentially has said, let's do an extension. I think they offered a 30-day extension. The last time they had a CBA negotiation, there was a 60-day extension. So this is pretty common to have. But I don't know if the players have accepted it yet. I imagine they will. I saw something interesting that I don't think we've really talked about, which is if they don't make a deal, what actually will happen. And we've talked about like they could go on strike, or if there's no contract in place, like what kind of could happen, because it's off season, like the games don't. It's not like we're not going to get WNBA basketball. But what would happen is the players could elect to go on strike if there's not a contract in place. If they were to make that decision, it would cut off all formal communication between their team, coaches, execs, etc., and could cause some really interesting dynamics in that sense. The league could also choose to lock out the players, which would prevent the players from training, receiving medical treatment, accessing team facilities, stuff like that. So it could come from both sides. And essentially, if that were to happen, communication is cut off, facilities. I think if anyone's nursing an injury or you're wanting to train or things of that sort, it becomes this weird relational issue. And I think it's more impactful. A lot of these players aren't making a lot of money. And so not having access to facilities and care and things like that can be pretty, I think, impactful in comparison to LeBron getting locked out and being able to practice at his house, probably.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that I think
And
is
so what is the, it sounds like a strike or a like freeze like that doesn't sound beneficial for anyone.
No, but it depends is who has the players aren't getting what they're wanting. And so it would likely come from them if it is my guess. Like I wouldn't imagine that the league would do that, but I don't know. I think it's you either take this or not, or we're going to lock you out, or it's we're not going to play. It's like who can come in with the, I think, like upper edge. It's a negotiating deal, the writers' strike, etc., things of that sort. So yeah, I don't think it's good for anyone. My guess is they'll extend it 30 days, potentially another 30 days, and they come to some conclusion. But the other piece that I saw recently on this, and I would caveat all of this that this comes from a social media post, so probably needs a really healthy fact check. But if this is true, this is really interesting. Average viewership between NBA and WNBA is very similar, like on a per game, like just average viewership game wise, not playoffs, not all the things. Average viewership for the WNBA for this last season was 1.3 million. Average viewership in the NBA for last season was 1.5.
That's close.
So like my
I'm gonna pay the
African players, like
it's something that we need to know. NBA versus WNBA viewership
at an average viewership.
Just the facts here. This is Close. So 1.53 million viewers per game for the NBA, and WNBA was an average of 1.19 million viewers per game.
Yeah.
Which 1.19, that's 1.2. So 0.3 million.
Which is
Which
still a lot of people, but like when we're
300,000.
talking, yeah,
Is that how
300,000.
numbers were?
Yes.
Who knew?
In the grand scheme of things, that is a lot of people, but also not a lot of people, I think. And like the
Not a
fact,
lot.
no. And the NBA, I would say, is like this right now, and maybe not that drastic, but the WNBA is drastically like this. And so
For
I
those
would
that just look where the NBA is on a down slope and the WNBA is on an upslope.
yeah, exactly. That is exactly what the arms were trying to portray.
For those only listening,
That's fair. I do forget that. The NBA definitely over the last couple of years have had a harder time keeping momentum. Not that they're like losing viewership, it's more, I think, plateauing than anything, slight dip. But I think that's all to say, like, I think the big argument that people have is the WNBA doesn't make money and the WNBA doesn't bring
doesn't
in
have
the
the same
viewership.
reach.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same
Right.
reach. And yes, it hasn't historically been that, but it's already shifting. The other thing is in the 80s, the CBA for the men make 50% of basketball revenue. And that has been the case since the 80s when the NBA was not profitable. And that's like the big argument that Kathy, saying that WNBA is not profitable. We can't give women 50% at it. And so it's pretty much anyone that's on the player side is pay the women. Like, this is pretty much just like an equal pay thing. It's not a business decision. It's like these are professional athletes in basketball. You should pay them the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the percentage, not like actual
Right.
figure. But yeah, so I'm really curious.
Like a female commissioner not on board with paying female athletes
And
more.
I haven't. They don't release their financials. So like, I don't. Who knows what the books look like? But I just can't. Like, there's gotta be a way. I don't know. And it's really that bad. Then let's see it. I don't know. Help us understand better what's going on. It just feels okay.
Give us the evidence.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Show us the books.
So I have a feeling, and I think this group of women isn't gonna just take I don't think they might have to go down a bit, but I don't think they're gonna budge
And they should
on a lot of things. No, they shouldn't have to.
And I think the argument that they're making money elsewhere and that's why they don't need as much money as players. Fuck that.
That's bullshit.
No, that's not.
That is such a cop-out answer.
Yeah, exactly. That's a cop-out, and that is stupid.
They have to. They shouldn't have to. They should be able to. I would say this about most jobs. You shouldn't have to do more than one job. Like, you should be able to work your 40 hours and be able to afford rent and things. Not that the WNBA players aren't, but I think many of them are struggling. Like, they don't make very much. And so they're pushed to do these videos. They can't.
Yeah.
Like, NBA players don't feel the need. Like, they might, but they're not in the position where they feel like they have to. So yeah, that's the WNBA stuff. These are no longer quick hits, but this is just a wild story that I heard. Similar to, okay, hold on, rewind. 2 weird stories. This is what my newsfeed has been this week. Jalen Brown's hairline. There's been videos of him posted. This man has a $300 million contract, and he has a spray-on hairline, and there's video of him like doing like a drive to the basketball, and it smears on the white jersey of the opponent, and it's, I think, not that like happening. And so he's gotten so much heat for it in the last couple of days. I think he went on Twitch and
media for his baldness.
Yeah. Yep. But How
funny.
can you?
You're accidentally staining multiple players' jerseys with fake hair fibers.
Yes.
They're calling it Staingate.
Staingate, I'm dead. He has $300 million. Man, fly to Turkey in your off season and get some hair plugs. Or just go bald. Embrace it. It doesn't matter, but
Oh my
spray on
God.
hair is definitely not the issue. I think he did end up shaving his head on Twitch and was like, I'm not doing the hair
did.
plug thing. I just like,
He called LeBron for advice on balding.
oh gosh.
That's funny. Stuff out there. Like that is, although this is my hot take, and this is why we can't do quick hits because we have opinions.
Yes.
My hot take is that male balding and like men being bald, that's bullshit. Women have so many beauty standards that they have
Yes.
to maintain and keep up with. So men doing nothing about their balding heads and then being so sad about it, grow up, do something about it. Take a vitamin, put a serum on your head. I put serums on my head, not because I'm balding, but because I want my hair to be healthy and grow.
Yep.
But like, it's not just like a zero. Oh, so we're so sad. We live with this. We're bald. No, grow up. We do things to improve ourselves. And baldness is one of them. Women struggle with baldness and hair thinning also.
And they do something about it.
They do something
Or
about
they
it.
can. Yeah. To each their own. I think anyone in the public eye that has to deal with something of that sort, but like, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't be made fun of for that choice.
No.
At the same time, you have don't know how many times I can reiterate that. You have a $300 million contract to do whatever you please with your hair. Buy something, do something different than spray on hair fibers. Like that just seems like such the wrong decision. I can't. The other on your hot take, something I saw before this was if you could see men's dick size, like you can see women's boob size, the world would be a different place.
Oh my gosh. That argument can be made for any.
Yeah.
For anything that women have to deal with that men don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
If men had to deal with cramps.
Oh God.
If men had
to deal with half the things that we deal with, the world would be a different place.
Yep.
The Jalen Brown one, and then the other not fun but comical and like what moment? A fan fell from the upper deck at a Penguins game on Monday, I think. Like 200 level, critical condition. I think they're doing better. It happened during the first period. But this is the third time that someone has fallen in Pittsburgh in the last year. First was at a baseball game. Someone fell from like the bleachers onto the field. Kid was drinking, underage apparently, and yeah, not good shape, a lot of broken bones. But that was the first incident, which was like there was a video of him just tumbling down. The second incident, which I don't think was that long ago, was a worker at the football stadium. I think it's Acrisure Stadium. Fell 50 feet from the stadium's scoreboard. He's doing pretty good, it sounds like. I don't think he's okay, but he's not. He's alive and doing better than expected, is what it said. And then this new guy decided to do it at the hockey stadium. So we have baseball, football, and hockey all in Pittsburgh. Someone in the last year.
It has to be permit related in Pittsburgh.
Well, I don't know. The like upper deck, I think had like plexiglass or something. I didn't like it. I don't know. I feel like there was a little like glass barrier where the guy like fell over. There was stuff in front of him. He also hit someone on his way down in a suite. Other person declined to go to the hospital and was okay. But I just think this is wild that all three incidents, and I'm sure there's other incidents, but it seems weird that something's going on in Pittsburgh. So if you're going to a game, sit on the first level if you can, please.
Details emerge in Penguins game tragedy and how quickly it all happened. Penguins fans, life in peril. I say I shouldn't be joking about this. That is a very...
It's not a good thing, but it's
not
bizarre. It's bizarre to me. I will say...
tumbled down several stairs before tumbling headfirst over the glass.
Oh, gosh. I will say there's many upper decks that I've sat in that I get anxiety about the same thing, tripping down the stairs and falling over. But what are you going to put up, like a huge thing of glass? Like that would suck. Did you see? I think Saudi Arabia wants to build a stadium on a skyscraper. Did you see that rendering?
No.
Talk about
They do
falling. Yeah.
so many tall things.
Yeah. Different world. Truly a different world. Football, Scatabo injury. I was on a plane. I was traveling on Sunday, and so I didn't watch any football. And I made the mistake of clicking on the TikTok link to see Scatabo. Oh, I did not like it.
I didn't see it. I probably won't see it. It's his ankle.
All you need to know is it was going the wrong direction. Like your feet normally, like you complain about your bunions. This man's foot was pointing absolutely the wrong direction.
What happened to my brother playing hockey? My brother has a plate and screws in his ankle because
impressive in skates, I feel like.
His foot went one way and his whole body went the other way.
Yeah.
But that's so sad.
I know.
We're trying about you.
I think it's it was, I think, a bummer for everyone. But I think it's kind of a bummer for the NFL. I feel like those two gave such life to the league in a way.
I saw something so sad about, what's his name? Jackson Dart. Wow, I remembered. I saw it, like, he was just like, he's so sad.
I know.
He was. Buddy.
I think the quote he said, it was the worst part. It's the worst part of this game. And I could not agree more. There's some conversation of whether it was a legal hit or not. I can't be bothered to watch it again to confirm if I think it was a legal hit or not. I think it's one of those close but not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will not be watching that again. I feel like having been someone that has had a fair share of injuries, I feel like I physically feel yeah. So that's the bad news. Aaron Rodgers drama. I feel like this man.
We talked about this earlier. Tell me now for the people.
The game, you gotta go, girly.
Oh my God.
It's radiating.
Red.
For those not watching, the little dog has been sitting on my lap and she is radiating heat at the moment. So we're gonna put her somewhere else. Aaron Rodgers, many love to hate on this man. I feel like I actually don't really know anyone that's an Aaron Rodgers fan, but he's good at football. But he's a.
Do we know anything about a secret was yet?
I am not. I feel like that kind of made the news when he announced it, and I haven't heard anything since. I would imagine she would come to a game or something, but
just a woman named Brittany with an I.
Who knows? Anyways, he went back to Green Bay, which is where he spent most of his earlier career. He's now on the Steelers. He's bounced around. He was on the Jets. But he, in a press conference ahead of the game, said something along the lines of, I want to retire as a Packer, which is a weird thing to say when you're on another team. And I don't know. It was just a weird statement. And then he also proceeded to say there's no hate or this isn't a not rivalry game, but this isn't like a big deal for me to come back. And I'm not thinking it was like oddly like nice and pleasant. And then wanting to retire there, it was very weird. Also, the Steelers
wanting to leave your current team for your old team,
like wanting to he's close to retirement. He's on the closer side to retirement than many current quarterbacks.
Yeah, brother's old.
And so, yeah, when Green Bay, I don't think Green Bay wants him back, but it's just like it's pretty controversial, I think, when an active player on a team says, I want to be on another team in any capacity. Like, usually that is.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Keep that to yourself.
The other thing, did you see their jerseys, the Steelers jerseys for that game?
I remember seeing them. I don't know. I remind myself.
Horrific. Just look up Steelers yellow, Steelers.
Oh, yes.
They're like a nod to their historic jerseys. I think they've done nods to them before in the past that have been way better. What is up with these nude pants?
Yes, they were wearing tights.
Well, they always wear tights, but they looked like a bunch of little naked.
You know what they looked like? They looked what?
Winnie the Pooh.
No, they looked like Sabrina Carpenter wears those sparkly nylons that make her legs look beautiful.
And
that's what wearing.
the ice
They're like
skating.
opaque. Yes.
Yeah, like figure skaters wear them.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Alice turned this on Sunday. He was like, "Oh yeah, you
What
need to
are
continue your
these?
education."
I was gonna say Winnie the
Oh,
Pooh.
and
They look
the
like
game was at Aperture Stadium. Look at that.
oh, funny. Yeah, just aside, I don't know who made that decision. I know our fashion editor at the NFL did not make that decision, but someone
Nude
somewhere,
pan, nude,
it
and
was
then they
all
can't
around
even be.
that.
I don't think that nude is racially inclusive because nude is a different color for everyone. But
Yes.
light beige pant, my nude.
Yeah,
No,
it was not it. It was not it. It was bad.
no, stupid,
It was
ugly.
real bad.
Kyle,
Kyle was definitely not involved in this decision. I can guarantee that. But someone needs to be the person in that room to say, I think we can do better. I
who
don't
liked
think
that?
it. I don't know. I just can't imagine being in the locker room when they started to put those things on. Like, oh, that would be painful.
We could get like an inside scoop on what
Who?
the players liked. On most people,
Oh,
yellow's a hard color to wear, but it's those
the whole thing.
pants. I think that like it wouldn't be as offensive if they were wearing a full yellow kit. It's those
Yeah,
weird pants.
it was not it. Yeah, being a fly on the wall in that locker room would have been.
They were honoring their inaugural 1933 season.
There's better ways to do it.
But yeah, why? Why?
You can still do that and have it look good.
You could
know.
still honor. You could have worn yellow pants, and it would still be
A
honoring.
nod. Yes. There's a lot
Yeah.
of different things that could have been done.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steelers made the news for all the wrong reasons, essentially. Jets made the news for good reason. The Jets got their first win.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're 1-7 now.
1-7, unfortunately, to the Bengals. It sucks to be the team,
Right. Like the team that they
loses to the team that hasn't won a game all season.
And didn't
They're
the
without-
Bengals big win the week before?
Yeah, so the Bengals are without Joe Burrow, and they have Joe Flacco, who came over from the Browns and took over. They lost their first game with him, but then they won, and now they lost this. The problem is they don't really have a defense. I think that is the big story. That's why the
They had a close win against. Yeah. Oh, that's why. It was what did you call it? The Unk Bowl. Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers, just the old guy dueling it out.
Yep. So that's
what we're thinking of. Like the Bengals won against the Steelers and then turned around and lost to the
Jets. The Jets had a retired legend, essentially Nick Mangold, pass away from kidney disease complications. And so that was announced right before Sunday. And so I feel like there was some extra reason to play hard. I feel like that stuff happens and makes the team unite and do good things. But
yeah.
there's
hope for what's the Aaron Glenn,
the head
new
coach.
Head coach at the Drac. Is there hope? I don't know. But
I don't know.
He's 0-8.
The win is good.
A win is a win at that point.
Yeah. Colts are 7-1, all still on their
Carly, our gal.
road. I know. I am just so curious. I'm so curious to see how they continue. I feel like I keep saying this. Like I really hope it doesn't slow down at all. Like I hope they can continue. I saw something from one of her recent press conferences, and it was just her, like, again, getting asked about why she's on the sideline with a headset, per usual. And she pretty much just said, I would recommend this to any owner. If you're paying millions of dollars to these players and coaches and you're having to write these big checks, like understanding what actually goes on. It's not to necessarily like point fingers, but it's helpful to understand if it was a bad route that was ran, or if it was like the player's fault. Was it a bad play that like was the wrong play called? Was the wrong player subbed in? Like really, where did everything break down? And it's so that you can fix it. Also, I saw one of the players walk in with a like shirt with her on it, like a little sketch or illustration of her on it. And so I feel like you're winning. So you got to be saying like something, you got to like your owner if you're winning. The Jets, the whole thing is the Jets have a pretty old owner that's been around for a long time. And I think there's some talk recently within different analysts that have said you can't do good things if you have a bad owner. And so it's really like the top of the top. You have to, it trickles down. It's hard to, you can make coaching changes all you want, but if the leadership and the decision making at the top is bad, you're not wanting to spend, you're not wanting to do all these things. I don't know. It's
Right.
I think for our players, having her do that and also seeing how it likely is really paying off, I think is making them, and she's back, dog on the lap. I think it's making the players appreciate her. And also like you're getting to know it. Like she's on the field. She's
Right.
probably at
Present,
practice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like I love it. I think it's great.
Oh.
Why, and her point of as an owner,
Yeah.
there's so much money involved. And people with that much money, I feel like they're involved and they're making educated, informed decisions about so many other things. So why wouldn't they be educated and informed about the game that they're...
It's no longer like a he said, she said, or pointing fingers. It's just like you can hear it all, understand it.
Right.
And yeah,
I love it.
I feel like it is exactly why we're building Sports BFF and making women more knowledgeable and confident in understanding sports so that you can do whatever you want. But like it, whatever it is. I feel like it's with most things, if you're more involved, you're more educated, you have the resources, you can be more confident in making the decisions that you need to. So I feel like she would be a dream to have on the podcast. I think we may be approaching guests at some point soon. We'd try it. Why not? Okay, the last little bits that I wanted to talk about, I feel like we've maybe left. We have so much, but we're getting close. We're going a lot over time. The betting scandal is nuts. You saw like
Crazy.
The NBA
I don't
betting.
know. I don't know much about it. I more so went down a wormhole of the conspiracies coming out about Michael Jordan as a result of the current NBA betting scandal. I cannot speak to that. We do not have to spend time on that. They are conspiracy theories.
Let me give you the quick little bit. We don't have to spend a ton of time, but so what happened was federal authorities charged over 30 people in 2 overlapping cases. One involves insider betting on NBA games, and one is tied to rigged poker ring. And so what happened was Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, former NBA player Damon Jones, and then Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups were all indicted. And essentially what they're saying...
I know that Chauncey was a coach, no?
What?
A girl that he played for the Pistons.
Oh, I was like, what else would he be?
He played for the Pistons. The girl that I went to high school with, she had her family dog. His name was, they were big Pistons fans, and their dog's name was Chauncey.
That's funny. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, so he was the head coach of the Blazers.
And he's involved in the betting scandal?
Yep. So apparently there's players and associates shared confidential info. For example, Rozier allegedly faked an injury in 2023 and tipped friends to bet under on his stats. Jones supposedly leaked that LeBron James would sit out for a Lakers game, encouraging bigger bets on Milwaukee during that game. And then some bets were based on teams planning to like rest stars, or there was also some like potential like losing intentionally. And then there's this whole like rigged poker operation where like the mafia starts to come into play, which apparently like Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones were accused of being face cards, so essentially like famous names to attract the victims. And that's a whole nother thing, but it's all somewhat connected. And apparently it was like this huge 30 people in 2 cases. And I think it's called up a lot of question on like sports gambling in general and if it's good or bad. And I think you can love it and hate it at the same time. And like most things in life, everything in moderation. Like it can get out of hand. My uncle asked me if I think sports are rigged. And I was like, I just think there's so many. I think something like that, like individual player stats is a lot easier for insider stuff. I don't think it's common for players to sway their own stats. I would like to believe that at least. I don't think that refs are getting paid off like a lot. I think that there's just natural bias that ends up
A lot.
happening. I'm sure like is that like I'm sure that this happens probably more than it gets caught. Like I'm sure it has, but
Well, we both know, you and I both know that I don't know a lot about betting, but I do love a conspiracy theory within
yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
I feel like with betting, there's so many things that you can bet on.
I know.
Like, how can you, I think that it is natural that humans in their defiant nature have found loopholes in things that they can get away with, and they were getting away with it until they weren't.
Yeah. I feel like it would be so easy. And this is where it is essentially like insider trading. We're going to do this thing. I feel like the conversations that I have are so casual about different stuff. It would be so easy for me to be like, as LeBron James' shooting coach, to mention that he's going to be sitting out the game. And so, like, without the intention of being like, go bet on the Milwaukee. I don't know. I guess if you're encouraging it, it's different. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Well, and
such a casual, it
I
can be
think
such
with
a
with the
casual.
intention behind it of, yes, you could tell a friend that, but I think that the point is that these people with this high level of visibility into huge money-making enterprises, they can't have casual conversations about it. I see it. You bring up insider trading. Working in finance, we go through so much training about insider trading and like material non-public information and all sorts of stuff. So I think that
Yeah.
it's like when you're at that level in sports, there needs to be
To think about it.
education, and you have
I'm
to be
sure there
like,
is.
you can't cry like, I didn't think that they would go bet on it.
I think this is all with the intention of you should bet on. I think it's with the intention of, but I feel like for me, I like that would just come up so naturally in a way.
Sure.
But I think this was definitely with intention. What was the conspiracy theory that has come up with
So with
injuries?
the Michael Jordan, there was a conspiracy theory with Michael Jordan that he was also involved with like gambling and betting, and that the NBA essentially covered it up. That his like weird retirement stint when he went and played for the MLB, honoring his father, that the theory, which is a theory, this holds no water. I'm not saying that I believe one thing or not, but I love talking about conspiracy theories. The theory is that he was told by the NBA that he needed to take an 18-month hiatus. And that is when he did his little MLB stint and whatever. And then came back
Okay.
out of retirement. And
Well,
there's like, in that, there's other similar movements, injuries, those kinds
yeah,
of weird things that there's now speculation that the NBA has been covering these things up for their players. Punishing, but covering up and not being honest about
yeah.
why players are out.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was true. Do I believe it? I don't know. I did, funny enough, watch Space Jam on the flight. I witnessed this go down. Yeah, interesting. But I think it's like, does this stuff happen more than we probably realize? Yes. Do I think that sports are innately
Corrupt.
corrupt? No. I think there's too many people that care too much about winning and losing that I think it's really hard to actually sway game outcomes. I think basketball, you only have 5 people, so like one person could, but then coach is going to put, there's other people on the bench. Like I think it would have to be so many people involved on a single team level to do stuff like that. And I think that there's too many egos involved, to be honest, to do that consistently enough. The start of the season too, this season at least, we talked about the viewership. I feel like the NBA is off to an insane start. There's been so many overtime games. Wemby's like this new star, not new star, but like he's been having an insane start to the season. There's been multiple like 40 plus games by players. Austin Reeves dropped 50 plus, which puts him in like very elite company of other players to do. I don't know. I feel like players are coming out hot, which if in such a long season you don't often always see. I'm curious if it'll be like excited and then like taper off, chill, and come back in. There's the new in-season tournament that the NBA has been doing for the last couple of years, which they stole from the WNBA. The WNBA does it, and they actually make a ton of money. They make money in the NBA, but it's not the same effect because they don't need it. And that, I think they hope would pick up viewership. I don't think it's really done quite the same as the WNBA has, but yeah, curious, like with just the start, how stuff will go. I think per usual, it's who can stay healthy, but it's an exciting start. And then last things last, to keep us moving, trade deadline, NFL trade deadline is coming up. So essentially next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern is the trade deadline for 2025. And I know probably what that means to some extent, but you probably actually don't know the ins and outs. So I figured I would give you the little lowdown.
Yeah, I literally don't assume I know anything because I know nothing. I don't know, like, why is there a trade deadline? What is it?
Yep.
What are the implications of it?
So essentially, the trade deadline is a hard cutoff for specifically trades in between NFL teams. So, for example, Micah Parsons was a trade for another player and a draft pick. After Tuesday, November 4th at 4 p.m. Eastern, that cannot happen until the start of essentially the next season. And so this helps. It's done in the mid-season because teams might have injuries, need to move some stuff.
So before November 4th, are teams still making trades?
Yeah, it usually happens.
Current
Current teams, yep. And so it usually
So
happens.
Schmo from the Steelers could be traded to the Packers tomorrow, and then they have to go. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
On November 4th, is it like freeze?
Yep. Exactly. So November 4th is the freeze. All deals need to go to essentially be approved by the league by 4 p.m. Eastern. And they do it in the middle of the season for the reason of trying to essentially build the best team. You put the product on the field and you see what you're missing. You're trying to build depth. You might have some injuries. So, for example, Joe Flacco was traded to the Bengals because Joe Burrow was hurt. They have a cutoff to keep competition fair, and it stops teams from loading up before the playoffs and makes you make this like mid-season decision of, okay, here's the deadline. You have to make any decisions by then. You'll usually see stuff beginning of the season happen, and then it dies off, and then you'll see the last 48 hours pick up. So I wouldn't expect anything right now, but come Sunday, Monday, then you start to see it. I would say most starts to happen actually Monday because they play and then it like gets announced. It's rare. It could happen before, but you would potentially want them. I don't know. Depends what the trade is. The teams essentially can still like, or what they do, like how the trade works is they can swap players. So you could do a player for player trade, or you can swap draft picks or conditional picks. And yeah, so that's the trade piece.
What's a draft pick and conditional pick?
The draft pick, yeah. So draft pick and conditional picks are one and the same. So it's still a conditional pick is still a draft pick, but a draft pick would be, for example, trading Joe Flacco for a 4th round draft pick. The draft is the next round of newbies coming in. The conditional pick essentially puts like a conditional parameter around the draft pick. So if Joe Flacco were to show up at the Bengals and have a blowout season where they win the Super Bowl and he just happens to go off, the conditional like draft pick might have some clause in there around if he hits a certain milestone that moves up to maybe a 3rd round pick versus a 4th round pick. So it adds a little parameter that keeps the deal as the season goes on even, essentially.
Got it. That makes sense.
I don't know how common they are, to be honest, but yeah, that's what they are. The big thing, so how, like what to expect essentially is salary caps and contracts will drive decisions. So you have essentially only a certain salary cap. So like you can't spend around 255 million per team for the entire roster. So you might want to make a trade, but essentially, if you're giving up a player whose salary is lower than the one you're taking on, that has some implications. It's big salary, bonuses, guarantees that are spread across. There's a lot that goes into it. So trades, it's not as like we won't see as crazy movement. The NBA trade deadline can get a lot more like we often see a lot more blockbuster trades around the deadline. The NFL trade market's usually a little more complex than the NBA, and so it's I wouldn't expect anything like major. Jalen Waddle from the Miami Dolphins is like a name that has come up in rumor lists. He's probably one of the bigger bigger players that has had his name come up. But yeah, I wouldn't expect anything. But what it will happen is you'll see all these trades happen. And if you're a Lions fan, you might see some movement, for example. And the teams are either in like a buyer stage or a seller stage. Usually teams have playoff hopefulness, are trying to either add depth or potentially fill gaps with some star talent to get them to where they need to be. And then usually teams that are not doing well, for example, the Jets, could try to sell off and give away players for potential draft round picks or like starting the rebuild now. They know they're probably for this season. And so they're more like, offering players up that could fill gaps on other teams. All of that is with the caveat, essentially, that players often have no trade clauses, which means they can like completely veto a trade. So some of the bigger stars will have
So
this.
like the player can veto a trade.
Yeah. So they like some contracts will have that clause written in where they have the power to be like, I don't want to go play in this state, or I don't want to go, like whatever it might be. Or like maybe they don't get along with other players on certainty. I don't know. Yeah. It's a big thing to have, I think, one of those in. But if it's it depends on the team. But I find that players, if they're getting traded, it sometimes feels like it's both want it in a lot of ways. But you also want to make sure you go to a team where you have potential to still be like a star or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Once the trade deadlines happen, you can still sign free agents or make waiver claims. So
what's a waiver claim?
So when a team, like if the Jets were to drop a player, they go on waiver for a certain time period and teams can put in for them. So let's say 5 teams are like, oh, we want to claim this guy. The team with the lowest record gets it. So the worst record gets them. And I don't feel like I see that a lot. And like free agents usually get signed. Like if they're good free agent, they're getting signed pre-season. So there's just a bunch of athletes chilling, unless kickers sometimes will come from wherever, because you don't really need like good kickers. Yeah. And then quarterback.
That's like the movie plot. Like the kicker is some Joe Schmo off the street who gets his chance to go pro.
Yeah.
I think the movie plot is like the quarterback is just some Joe Schmo off the street who didn't get a chance to go to school, and that's why he's now. So anyway.
Did you know the Bills have a guy? I think he's on defense. He's from Buffalo Joe, and he tried out and made the team, and he's become like a star. He's adorable. He's really cute. Buffalo Joe. I don't think that his name is Joe. I just think they nicknamed him that.
There is a Joe on the Buffalo Bills, and he has so many letters in his name.
Yeah, that might be him, actually. But, okay, back to the trade thing to wrap this up. So, waivers, you can claim, you can sign free agents. That's not that common. So, pretty much, like, this is the time to make the moves if you feel like you're a team that has gaps, or if you're trying to offload to make room, salary cap-wise, et cetera, et cetera. I already mentioned deals happen. Expect the last 24, 48 hours to see when you start to see things. And if you're not seeing a team do anything, like that's not a big deal either. Like it's not a bad thing to not make any moves. Signals you're confident where you're at. But with the way injuries have been such a big thing this season, I would expect if you're a team where you have two wide receivers out on injuries that maybe are like longer term injuries, you might want to trade a team that has a bunch of running backs or like a bunch of wide receivers but is hurting for running backs or something. You might do something of that sort. And I feel that because of the injuries, we might see a bit more movement. But who knows? Yeah, it all really depends on the salary caps and all that contract stuff, which is a whole nother conversation that I don't feel confident explaining at the moment. That's the highest level but yeah, it gets to be confusing. So yeah, by next week, we'll see if there's been any big moves. I think I looked at article and like kind of some of the top rumors right now. Yeah, Jalen Waddle, Miami, Jacoby Myers is actually potentially a big one. He's expressed interest in being traded. Logan Wilson is a linebacker for the Bengals. Mark Andrews, tight end. All role players. I wouldn't say like major team stars. So yeah,
It'll be interesting to
and then
see.
We'll have a World Series winner by then. We'll have maybe an update on CBA negotiations and hopefully no more upper deck falls.
Do you think fans in Pittsburgh are just so drunk?
One was an employee. I'm curious what this one was. Like if it was the first period inning, the first inning of the hockey game.
What if it was like an old man? That's so sad. I don't know.
I'm curious to learn more because I just find that to be so bizarre that it keeps happening. Okay, till next time. Let's see you next week.
See you next time. I'm reading about the person falling. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the fall.
Apparently, the game kind of just continued on for a bit. I think so.
That's showbiz, baby.
Crazy.
Oh no, Miss Donch. I don't have to pistachio. What we need is this is the sponsorship I want. Not Bunions. Pistachios, shelled pistachios are expensive. They are a real luxury item.
Yes, they are.
But ain't nobody got time to shell pistachios. Fun fact. Guess the number of pistachios that is in a serving size.
12.
Higher. 49.
Oh my God, that's a lot. That's way more. I feel like it's usually like, here's 10 almonds and that's a serving size. And you're like,
take 6 walnuts and you're like, I'm still hungry. No, yeah. 49.
Okay, I appreciate that.
A quarter of a cup, about 49 pistaches.
How many servings have you had during this recording?
I've probably eaten around 200 pistachios. They go down quick, especially when you don't have to shell them. I'm picking up 3 at a time, and I've been eating these for the last 2 hours.